Let's try the Pomodoro technique for the first time ever, and let's add a twist. Let's use it throughout the entire day, from waking up to sleeping. For those of you who are not familiar with the details, here's a quick rundown on how to use the Pomodoro technique. Basically, do a task for 25 minutes, otherwise called 1 Pomodoro, then rest 5 minutes. After 4 Pomodoros, take a long rest and then repeat the pattern. So what does it mean to Pomodoro technique my entire day? Basically, from the moment I wake up, I have to be performing a Pomodoro or short break or long break at all times. I call it my Pomodoro day, and this is the Pomodoro law. Now, the big question. Did using the Pomodoro technique actually increase my productivity, or was it just a bother? Well, let's find out. There are a couple of things to prepare before doing this challenge if you want to try it out. First, you need to know what you're doing at all hours throughout the day. For me, I schedule my week in my planner, so I already had my day set. Second, you need a timer that's actually designed for the Pomodoro. I downloaded the first one I found on the App Store, which is called Focus Keeper. I turned off the ticking sound in the settings and it works very well. And that's about it for preparation. Alright, so how did the experiment go? The results were sporadic. The first Pomodoro was basically a quick version of my morning routine. Normally, I'm a little slow when I wake up. Every action I do is relaxed and thoughtless. But with the Pomodoro, it changes the tone completely. It's rush time. Every second counts, every thought matters, every action planned. Speed, focus, awareness. Right off the bat, I knew these were the 3 things that would dictate the rest of my day. Piano, where the Pomodoro technique shined the brightest. With hindsight, it does make a lot of sense that piano would bring out the best of the Pomodoro. The time intervals seemed perfect. You practice a piece for 25 minutes, rest for 5, and then repeat the pattern. And sneaking a peek into the future, at night, I did 2 more Pomodoros, making that 5 Pomodoros in all for piano. I thought the Pomodoro helped me pace my practice sessions really well. Compared to my other tasks today, practicing piano is probably the closest to studying, which the Pomodoro is often used for. So it makes a lot of sense. Practicing piano, Pomodoro good. My next focus task, video editing. Pomodoro, meh. When it comes to certain types of video editing, it's repetitive and simple, and as a focus keeping tool, the Pomodoro in this case is not needed. However, as a tool that pushes you to try and keep your schedule, it actually does wonders. Normally what ends up happening is I edit for way too long, and that destroys any chance that I get everything on my schedule done. Today was actually one of those rare days. I actually managed to accomplish everything on my schedule. And it was 100% thanks to the Pomodoro. However, you could also just set a timer for the duration you plan on video editing for, and still reap the benefits of staying on schedule. So that's why I say the traditional Pomodoro technique itself in this case is just okay. And now we're going downhill, because for the next focus task, the Pomodoro was basically useless. That would be physical exercise. Here's the thing, when it comes to any good training routine, well, it's actually in the name. It's a routine. You already have set rest times involved. So the Pomodoro pretty much just disrupts your routine by adding extra breaks. It really doesn't make sense to use the Pomodoro for this unless you use the Pomodoro time intervals as the foundation of your routine. Then it could work. Otherwise, for me, it was pretty ineffectual. And now we're going even more downhill, because for the next focus task, I became a full-on Pomodoro felon. I pretty much broke all the Pomodoro laws there were because I completely ignored 3 short breaks and paused the long break. It was a collaboration writing project with one of my friends for a different YouTube channel we have. And when you have a project involving other people, it's kind of hard to just tell them, hey, I'm working on a Pomodoro timer today, so I'm going to be dipping in and out for about 5 minutes every now and then. So out of respect for my friend's time, I just didn't use the technique. Alright, so let's just fast forward for the rest of the day. After the collaboration, I took a longer break because at that point, I was pretty mentally exhausted. You can only go for so long on a fast-paced, high-focus mode before the returns begin to diminish. I woke up at 7:30 a.m. and it was 4:30 p.m., just for a time reference. After I took the longer rest for about 40 minutes, I did more video work, fixed some OBS settings for my cousin, worked on some channel management stuff, then my second piano session. And lastly, I did a light stretching session at night. By the end of it all, I was super mentally exhausted, which brings me to tomorrow. Even after a good night's rest, my mental capacity for the next day was a lot lower. I was still productive, but for the wrong things. Basically, the lack of mental capacity means a lower ability to follow my planner, and I become more spontaneous, like setting up a top-down rig for my future piano videos. Totally unplanned, but still productive since I've been wanting to do that for a while now. Which brings me to the day after tomorrow. On this day, I basically threw my planner out the window and decided to just practice piano, write a script, talk to a friend, and read manga, and that's it. Day after that, I was back in action pretty much 100%. I wanted to highlight the day afterwards because it's important to know productivity levels not only during the use of Pomodoro, but after as well. Of course, I used the Pomodoro in a pretty unconventional way, probably draining more mental energy than usual. Overall, I ended up doing 20 Pomodoros, which means 15 short breaks and 5 long breaks. The default break times on the app are 5 minutes and 25 minutes, so I just stuck with that. If you do the math, that adds up to being 11 hours and 40 minutes, which basically means I broke a lot of Pomodoro laws by pausing the app every now and then, since I was active for 16 hours. As a summary of my first experience, the pros. The Pomodoro Technique promotes high focus, a fast-paced, I gotta get this done mindset, as well as efficiency when it comes to eating meals, since I ended up having to eat lunch and dinner while working on things to abide by Pomodoro law. And lastly, my favorite benefit, it keeps you on schedule. The cons. It's stressful if you don't have the timer in front of you. I had to charge my phone at one point and I was super stressed not seeing the timer. Also, it definitely drains you mentally. Lastly, its usefulness is limited to certain tasks. It's more useful for high focus tasks like studying and practicing piano. The verdict? The Pomodoro Technique, when used for the right tasks, is pretty darn effective at increasing overall productivity. I'm definitely planning on integrating it on a weekly basis. So this experiment was primarily for fun, just to get my feet wet with the Pomodoro Technique. I do plan on testing this technique out further and seeing what my preferences are in terms of duration. But I wanted my first experience with this technique to be a fun one. I find that creating a video about it actually encourages me to follow through with using these productivity tips. Let me know in the comments what kind of experiences you've had with the Pomodoro Technique. Did it help increase your productivity? Was it too restrictive? What are your preferred durations for work time and rest? And what are the primary tasks you use it for? I'm very curious about how this technique varies for different people. Anyways, as always, if you liked the video, consider giving it a like. It really does help a lot. And if you haven't yet, subscribe if you're interested in seeing future productivity tips in practice. Also, I recently created a Patreon, so if you'd like to support the channel, consider becoming a patron. Anyways, thanks for watching, and have a nice Pomodoro day.